Hi everyone, welcome to X's and O's with LeRoy Butler. And we got a, we were looking for a couple of plays, and we wound up finding just one play that had so many interesting little features to it that it's the only play we're going to look at today. And it was from the Vikings game, and the Packers are in a really three wide receivers to the left and the tight end over there on the right.
One of McCarthy's favorite formations.
Yeah, he does like this formation a lot.
Does.
He likes to see whether he can get Finley one-on-one over there, right?
Because there's safety out there, or a linebacker, the ball comes here.
Right, and most cases it draws a safety over there and takes him away from the side, right?
And that's what they want.
So initially we were going to define what giving help means.
Yeah.
So, you've heard a lot about that with Don Barkley, the right tackle. So how do you give a tackle help? Well, this play was a perfect example of one way to give help. So why don't you show exactly what happened there?
And basically, if you got a speed rusher and this guy would like to come outside to come towards the quarterback, then you would basically tell Barkley where you're going to get your help is coming from outside, you make it come from inside. If the guy does a double move and come on the inside, Tom, then, hey, Kuhn will set inside and help you.
Right.
So that lets Rodgers know, listen, I got help backside, who, a new guy. I don't have to worry about that. I can go through my progression. But before that, Tom, you had these guys coming up, walking in here like they were going to blitz. And Saturday, you could see him point to 54, say, let's slide, he's our guy. And Rodgers, he basically very calm. We don't need to do that. These guys, if they're ever in these gaps, they're not really blitzing.
Right.
So why should we go max protection? Why should we change anything?
Right.
We should just stay with our protection, and Rodgers ended up being right. And for the most part, he also, once they set the protection, he gives his signal to these two guys. And what some might notice, and I think for the Packer Nation, get excited. Whenever you see 85 and 18 together, oh boy.
Yeah.
So Rodgers gives them kind of a hand signal, like circus.
Right.
He say, and basically you're gonna get a shallow cross right here by 85, and you're gonna get like a corner route here by 18, around the cob. And this route takes some time, so that's why giving help here is very important.
Right. Now let's talk about this help issue here. Now, if he knows he has help outside, he might set in a little bit and try to push him to the outside. Is that
push
correct?
him by. Absolutely.
And what is Kuhn's job there?
Kuhn has to read it, because in a perfect world, which it was a perfect world, Kuhn would love to come outside, chip this guy.
Now, what does chip mean?
Chip me, I just give him my left shoulder right in the gut.
And just
and
to
lift him
slow
up,
him down.
just to let him know where I am, to slow him down, that you're not just going to get a free rush.
Right.
After I do that, then everybody kind of drops off. Everybody drops here, linebackers here, and it was 3rd and 3.
Right.
And you're thinking, well, if you're the defense, we're not going to count Kuhn in the route because we see him blocking.
Right.
He was wide open right there for the first down.
Right. After he chipped, he went back out.
And the best chipper on the team really is Finley.
Right.
Because he hits these guys a lot higher, and it hurts.
And it's really interesting. You see Finley, they put him in what the Packers call it a flex position. And it's right here, and he's just off the line. And boy, you've seen him just flatten this guy because he doesn't see it coming. And he comes in there and
And you can see that against Cliff Averill this week, who's a speed rusher.
Right.
So if he sees Finley or Kuhn on his side, oh man, I'm going to get chipped. Sometimes it's just there for mind games.
Can weigh on you.
And they'll go past him and run their route. But it may work into the Packers' advantage.
But explain also that, okay, so you've devoted this guy. It does weaken you over here. Because what if these guys did blitz?
Right. Now you're trusting a potential center with your, one-on-one. And the most pressure's on is Newhouse.
Yeah.
If Newhouse, the last couple of weeks, has not been playing very well, if he is not playing well and giving up pressure, this doesn't work. Now you got to go max protection. You got to help both guys.
Right.
Now that puts stress on Evan Dietrich-Smith. And when these two guys, I'm going to erase this right here. I'm going to show you something they did. They ran what we call a TG stunt. Now, Evan Dietrich-Smith, he comes all the way over here
Yeah, he
So
pushed this guy.
Yeah, I'm going to move him away because he was here.
He wound up over there.
He wound up over there. And what happened against the Giants, it was 93.
Yeah, Chase Blackburn.
He came delayed and came in and got a blitz, got a sack right here.
Yeah.
So what has to happen is Evan Deidre Smith, he has to stay home.
Stay right here.
He got to stay there and
he can
stay right.
drive him a little and then come back.
Right.
And just get
push
out
him
of the
away
way.
and look for the other guy coming around. They work on that all the time.
Because Sitton's right here, he can handle the guy looping, and Saturday should have this guy.
Right.
And that's just a basic.
You got 3-on-2 in there.
Yeah.
So there's no need to go and do that. Even if you're running a man stunt, if you got man-to-man, if he disappeared, you know somebody's coming out. It's almost like in the secondary. One guy out, one guy in.
Right.
You zone them off.
And what we kind of saw was, you know, Rodgers wanted Jennings on this route.
Yes, he did. Yes.
And by Smith, I don't know if, we don't know for sure, but it looked like because he drifted out of here, he took that throwing lane
it took
out
it
of
out.
there. Could have been that, because Rodgers looks that way, and then he goes over to Kuhn.
Coaching point right here for Tom, for Jennings, second week, I mean, just getting back.
Yeah.
If he sees it's a zone, he has to sit down right there. Then he'll get the ball, 3rd and 3. But he kept drifting. Only way you keep drifting, if you're man-to-man, your guy's trailing, you can keep running.
Right.
But if it's a zone, sit down, he'll get the ball. And on the backside, the actual circus route, Randall Cobb was a little too shallow.
He kind of went.
Yeah, and he, you know, it was almost
Jones
like
was
this corner kind of got him there. So Rodgers came off of him, and did a brilliant job with his progression. That's why he's the best quarterback in the league. Hit Kuhn for the first down. Now, all of this you're saying, what does all this mean? It means that the Packers are committed to helping these guys. Because people say, well, why don't they give these guys help? Well, you can't help everybody.
Right.
We understand that. But they can go max protection. Sometimes you'll see Ryan Taylor come in.
Right, like he'll
you'll
be
see
right
Crabtree
here.
come in. And these guys, you remember the long pass they hit Crabtree down the middle off of play action when it's cover 2? If teams are going to play, this was cover 3. If teams are going to play cover 2 with 2 deep safeties, if you got 2 safeties here, now you see the Packers do a lot of help inside and they'll release these guys down the middle. Teams will get out of cover 2.
Right. Now, another thing we saw, and a lot of people have been asking me this in chats and blogs and things, is what is a slot receiver?
Yeah.
And what makes a slot receiver? Well, slot receiver is usually the guy who lines up between the wide receiver and the tackle.
Right.
And a lot of times mostly it's been Greg Jennings, but now it's a lot Randall
Cobb, right.
So what makes a good slot receiver?
A slot receiver knows this. When you come out of the huddle, the first thing you're going to know when you line up, you're going to know if it's man or zone right away. When you're lined up, you're going to look in at the ball, obviously get your alignment. You're going to know if it's man or zone. If you have an option route, that means I can go pretty much wherever I want to go in the intermediate area.
Based on the coverage.
You have to know what's going on, what these safeties do. You have to know what these linebackers do because you got to know when to sit down and you got to know when to keep running. And you also have to know the matchup. If you see it's a matchup that's very favorable, now sometimes receivers throw their hands up and sometimes they can get them in trouble. But for the most part, they got to find out if a good slot receiver knows zone and man immediately. And if they don't know, they pretty much guess and they're normally right. Doesn't mean they'll get the ball. Yeah. But sometimes interceptions happen when you get a guy like on the flip side, the reciprocal, you get Casey Hayward in the slot. He has to know man or zone as well, and he has to know who's outside and who's going to give you help. So if your Shields is coming back, say Shields is coming back, and they're playing cover 2, you got to know Shields is one of the guys that doesn't like to get a whole lot of jam, so you might have to carry your guy down the middle a little bit more. Now, if you get, House in there, big physical guy, he gets more of a jam, now I can gamble a little bit more. So that makes it work all together. But if you put Woodson right there, Woodson knows all this stuff.
Yeah, right, and he knows. Now, and then another thing that intrigued us about this play was how they lined these 2 guys up. Essentially, they said, oh, we got 2 slot receivers, we'll put them together right there, and you guess where they're going.
It's beautiful because that stops any jam on any receivers, and you got to guess who's the hot receiver. And when you get 2 dynamic guys like that, it really opens up a lot for your offense. And I think for the most part, Edgar Bennett's been doing a great job of keeping these guys smart enough to know. That's why you see James Jones having a career year You see a lot of targets going to 18. They're going to get some throws to 85. And don't forget about 87 when he comes back. And not to mention, Jermichael Finley the last 2 weeks have been playing just as good as any tight end in the league. If they can keep these weapons going, as long as what we talked about originally, giving help to guys on the 5 guy that needs help,
right.
I think the Packers will get back to scoring 30 points a game, and that means they'll go deep into the playoffs.
Right. We've talked about all these great things they're doing, but if these 5 guys don't do the, can't
all
hold
this
up,
don't
protection,
mean
doesn't
nothing.
mean anything. Right.
It doesn't nothing if
So-
these guys don't play. But for the most part, they're doing okay. It's patchwork, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay will get you 11-5, but it'll get you beat.
Right.
You got to play above that if you want to go to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us. Hope that was informational for you.
Yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter at Leap36, and as well as Facebook at Leap36 as well.
And we'll catch you next week.